Have you ever noticed the strange paradox of our age? We, as a species, have split atoms, mapped the cosmic microwave background, and sent machines hurtling beyond the heliosphere, yet we are still profoundly uncertain about the mysteries of our own consciousness. We live in a time where smartphones can summon any fact instantly, yet the whispers of intuition, déjà vu, or inexplicable experiences go largely unexplored. Why is it that amidst technological abundance, we remain starved for understanding of ourselves? Today, I want to take you on a journey not outward, not just to the furthest reaches of the galaxy, but inward to the uncharted cosmos of the human experience. There exists a category of individuals, which some call the chosen ones, who encounter phenomena that defy conventional explanation. These experiences are not merely hallucinatory or metaphorical, they are touch points between the tangible universe and the vast, intricate web of possibilities that physics and consciousness hint at. The first phenomenon we encounter is past life memory. Imagine your consciousness not as a single line, but as a waveform, a series of oscillations across time. Quantum physics teaches us that particles do not simply exist at one location or in one state. They inhabit a probability cloud until observed. Could it be that our memories, like particles, sometimes resonate across time, flickering from a past self into our present awareness? Individuals who recall past lives describe not just memories, but lessons, emotions, and even skills carried from prior existences. The implications are staggering. The narrative of "I am just who I am today" may be only a fraction of the story. If our consciousness is a river, then past lives are tributaries feeding into the present moment, shaping the currents we navigate now. Then there is the phenomenon of parallel realities and alternate timelines. Here, science and experience meet in a delicate dance. The multiverse theory suggests that every decision branches into a new reality, forming a vast cosmic tree of possibilities. For the chosen ones, the edges of these realities are perceptible. They experience glimpses of what might have been sometimes in dreams, sometimes in waking intuition. Imagine standing at a crossroads, not once, but in 1,000 versions of yourself. What can we learn when our choices are no longer singular, but part of a vast web of probabilities? The implications for ethics, responsibility, and empathy are profound. If multiple versions of ourselves exist, each making choices, then our understanding of consequence becomes more expansive than ever before. Third, we must consider alien encounters and cosmic connections. It is easy to dismiss these experiences as fantasy, yet the universe, in its incomprehensible vastness, makes our solitude improbable. Within the observable cosmos alone, there are more stars than grains of sand on every beach on Earth. To assume humanity is the sole thinker of consciousness seems statistically tenuous. Those who report encounters with extraterrestrial intelligence often describe not a fear-based confrontation, but a shared exchange, an instantaneous understanding that transcends language. It's as if the universe itself is teaching a lesson. Intelligence and consciousness are not bound to Earth, and perhaps the chosen ones serve as intermediaries, connecting humanity to the greater cosmic mind. The fourth phenomenon is quantum healing and energy manipulation. Modern medicine works because it understands the body at a mechanistic level, but physics hints at something deeper. All matter, including our bodies, is energy vibrating, oscillating, interacting. The chosen ones tap into the subtle lattice of existence, not through mysticism, but through intention aligned with natural resonance. Quantum healing is the art of harmonizing oneself with these frequencies, of catalyzing the innate capacity of the body to repair, balance, and evolve. It is neither magic nor placebo. It is an acknowledgement that the universe operates as an interconnected system where consciousness and matter are intertwined. Fifth, consider interdimensional travel and astral projection. If the universe is a vast network of energy and matter, what prevents consciousness from navigating it independent of the body? Many chosen ones report experiences that resemble travel beyond the physical plane, journeys to realms unbounded by space and time. Here, they encounter entities, laws of reality, and insights that redefine human understanding of life, death, and purpose. From a physics perspective, this is not entirely implausible. Consciousness might be a quantum phenomenon capable of entanglement and non-locality, allowing travel through dimensions imperceptible to our senses. Then comes time dilation and accelerated evolution. In moments of profound insight, consciousness can experience time differently. The physicist in us recognizes this as relative time, a concept proven by Einstein. The flow of time is not absolute. The chosen ones live this not in theory, but in direct experience. Hours can stretch into lifetimes of understanding. Moments can condense vast cosmic truths into flashes of insight. Through these experiences, they evolve faster, not just spiritually, but psychologically, socially, and intellectually. Their journey is a vivid reminder that time is not a jailer, but a medium for growth, perception, and transcendence. Finally, we arrive at cosmic revelations and universal truths. Across all the phenomena the past life echoes, the glimpses into alternate realities, the encounters with cosmic intelligence there emerge as a pattern. Everything is interconnected. These revelations do not come with easy answers, but with questions that illuminate our shared responsibility in the cosmos. If we are part of a vast, intelligent, and interwoven universe, then our actions matter in ways far beyond our immediate perception. To recognize this is to recognize the sacred geometry of our own lives, the fractal patterns of choice, consequence, and connection that ripple across existence. The chosen ones are not merely lucky. They are mirrors. They reflect possibilities we too might cultivate: awareness, responsibility, and awe. Their experiences remind us that our universe is not inert, but responsive, not random, but intricately patterned. And so we arrive at the final question. If these phenomena exist, not as abstract curiosities, but as real touchstones of human experience, what do we do with that knowledge? How do we live our lives in recognition of a universe that is vast, intelligent, and deeply interconnected? It begins with curiosity, the kind of curiosity that launches rockets into space and questions our place among the stars. It continues with humility, the understanding that we are small, yet capable of profound thought, creativity, and compassion. And it culminates in action, the commitment to live responsibly, to honor our shared connection with all life, and to cultivate wisdom in the face of infinite possibilities. The chosen ones serve as guides, but the path is open to all. Their experiences invite us to awaken not to fear the unknown, but to engage with it, to explore it, and to integrate it into a life lived with awareness, purpose, and wonder. In a universe as vast as ours, the greatest discovery may not be a distant planet or an alien civilization, but the recognition of our own potential to live consciously, ethically, and expansively. And so we continue curious, humble, and ever reaching toward the cosmos, not because we are compelled by obligation alone, but because the universe itself is a question, a challenge, and a conversation. Each moment is an opportunity to observe, to reflect, and to act. Each choice resonates across time, space, and consciousness, reminding us that we are not separate from the universe. We are a fundamental expression of it. And perhaps in the end, that is the most profound revelation of all, that we are not merely passengers in this cosmos, but participants. And every participant carries the power, responsibility, and privilege to shape not only their own destiny, but the destiny of a universe that is watching, listening, and waiting for our engagement. Now, let's pause and reflect on something fundamental. The universe doesn't care about convenience. It doesn't bend to our schedules, our beliefs, or our ideologies. And yet, here we are, self-aware creatures, capable of thinking about the cosmos, capable of imagining alternate timelines, past lives, and connections that stretch across galaxies. That in itself is astonishing. We exist at a rare intersection, a point where consciousness meets the cosmos, where perception meets possibility, and where the triviality of daily life collides with the vastness of eternity. When we consider past life memories, it's tempting to dismiss them as imagination, as a trick of the mind. But think about it in cosmic terms. The universe is 13.8 billion years old, matter and energy cycling through stars, planets, and eventually us. Every particle in your body has been somewhere else before. It's practically unavoidable. Your atoms might have been inside a dinosaur, inside a distant star, inside the first human who gazed at fire. So when someone recalls a past life, perhaps what they're accessing isn't fantasy, it's resonance. The memory of the universe itself echoing through the architecture of consciousness. If that doesn't make you pause, consider that even in science, memory is not fixed. It's reconstructive, it adapts, shifts, and sometimes surprises us with insights we didn't know we had. Parallel realities are another frontier, where the ordinary collides with the extraordinary. Imagine for a moment that each decision you make, what to eat for breakfast, whether to call a friend, whether to step left or right, spawns a new reality. It's not just a philosophical thought experiment, it's grounded in the mathematics of quantum mechanics. The many worlds interpretation of physics proposes exactly this. And for those chosen ones who can perceive alternate timelines, life is not linear. Life is a kaleidoscope. The implications of this are not merely academic. They challenge our sense of morality, responsibility, and empathy. If a universe exists where every decision branches into a different outcome, then every choice you make echoes infinitely. And then there are alien encounters, the ones that are not just fleeting lights in the sky, not just stories from science fiction, but experiences that participants describe as profoundly real. The statistics alone suggest we are unlikely to be alone. Our galaxy contains hundreds of billions of stars. The observable universe has more stars than grains of sand on all of Earth's beaches combined. If life emerges wherever conditions allow, then sentient life should be abundant. So when the chosen ones report contact, what they are really doing is expanding our perspective. They're reminding us that consciousness is not exclusively human, that intelligence is a cosmic phenomenon, and that the universe is eager to communicate if we are ready to listen. Now, let's talk about quantum healing. Physics teaches us that reality is fundamentally composed of energy and information. Your body, your mind, your very essence vibrates at frequencies determined by the interplay of countless particles. For the chosen ones, aligning with these energies, channeling them, directing them, and allowing them to flow can catalyze profound healing. This isn't magic. This is resonance, amplification, and synchronization. Consider a tuning fork. When struck, it resonates and sets nearby forks vibrating at the same frequency. So too can we align our internal frequencies with the universe, amplifying restoration and transformation. Interdimensional travel and astral projection bring us to the limits of imagination and the edge of physics. These experiences suggest that consciousness is not constrained to a single substrate. It is potentially non-local. It might entangle with itself across space and time. Chosen ones who traverse these dimensions describe landscapes that defy classical geometry, entities that defy language, and insights that defy linear explanation. Here, science flirts with philosophy. The universe becomes not a backdrop for human existence, but an active participant, a co-creator of meaning. Time dilation and accelerated evolution, phenomena more familiar to physicists than philosophers, are experienced in heightened states of consciousness. Einstein showed us that time is relative. The faster you move through space, the slower time passes for you. But for consciousness, the velocity of understanding, insight, and awareness is what matters. Chosen ones experience moments where time stretches or compresses, allowing the mind to absorb, process, and integrate information at speeds inconceivable to ordinary perception. This is evolution, not in millennia, but in moments of insight. And finally, we come to the essence of it all: cosmic revelations. The sum of these experiences, the past life echoes, the glimpses of alternate realities, the alien encounters, the energy healing, the astral travel, and the mastery over time, is a pattern that points to one fundamental truth. We are not incidental. We are not separate. We are participants in a vast, intelligent, and interconnected system. The universe is not silent. It whispers, it resonates, it unfolds through us. And here's where personal responsibility comes in. The cosmos doesn't demand action, but it does invite it. If we recognize that our choices ripple across time, across dimensions, across consciousness itself, then ethical living becomes not optional, it becomes inevitable. If the universe is interconnected, if we share matter and energy with distant stars, if our actions influence outcomes far beyond our perception, then how we live matters profoundly. The chosen ones are not extraordinary because they possess secrets inaccessible to the rest of us. They are extraordinary because they remind us of what we all can access: curiosity, wonder, and responsibility. And that's where hope resides. The universe doesn't require us to be heroes. It simply asks us to pay attention, to engage, and to participate. Imagine for a moment looking up at the night sky, not as an observer, but as a citizen of the cosmos. Every star is a sun. Every sun may harbor worlds. Every world is a laboratory of possibility. And you, right here on this tiny planet, have the capacity to act, to observe, to think, and to influence. That's a responsibility, yes, but also a privilege. And it's within that tension between privilege and responsibility, between insignificance and impact, that human greatness emerges. So, what do we do with this knowledge? How do we live in a universe that is both indifferent and intimate, vast and intertwined, indifferent in scale but responsive in connection? We live consciously. We observe with clarity, we act with integrity, we cultivate empathy not as a sentimental gesture, but as a recognition of our shared existence. We engage with science not just as a method of discovery, but as a lens to understand our place in the cosmos. And above all, we embrace wonder, not the empty kind, but the informed, intelligent wonder that comes from understanding just enough to appreciate the infinite complexity that still lies beyond us. The chosen ones illuminate a path, but they are not the end of the journey, they are a guidepost. The path is open to all who choose to walk it. And as we walk, we come to realize that the universe is not separate from us, that the cosmos is not merely out there, and that the highest form of intelligence is the capacity to understand our connection to it. And in that understanding, we find purpose, not as dominators of the universe, not as conquerors, but as conscious participants. Observers, yes, but also stewards. Explorers, yes, but also caretakers. We are both small and vast, fragile and enduring, mortal yet capable of insights that echo across space and time. And perhaps when we grasp that, we will finally live as if the universe itself is in our hands, because in a sense, island. Let's step back for a moment and consider the scale of all this. We speak of parallel realities, of past lives, of interdimensional travel, but these aren't just abstract curiosities. They are mirrors that reflect something about us, mirrors that whisper about the potential contained within a single human consciousness. Because here's the paradox. While the universe is unimaginably vast, each of us, each mind, each consciousness is itself a microcosm of complexity. We are, in a sense, universes unto ourselves. And if that doesn't make you feel simultaneously small and enormous, I don't know what will. Now, when we talk about alien encounters and cosmic connections, we must be careful not to fall into either arrogance or naivete. The universe is not obligated to teach us lessons, and yet it does if we're willing to listen. Imagine beings that evolved elsewhere, not just in biology, but in consciousness. Imagine their perception of reality, their understanding of physics, their mastery over space and energy. For the chosen ones who meet them, the encounter is less about spectacle and more about revelation. It is a humbling reminder that intelligence consciousness is a cosmic phenomenon, not a terrestrial privilege. And if we think about it, every act of learning, every act of curiosity is a way to align ourselves with that broader cosmic intelligence. Which brings us to quantum healing and energy manipulation. You see, the universe is not a collection of inert matter. At its foundation, it is energy, vibrating, interacting, and evolving. And within that energetic web, our bodies, our minds, and our spirits are nodes of resonance. To the chosen ones, this is not a mystical abstraction, it is an operational reality. Healing is not only possible, it is inevitable when energy is aligned, when patterns harmonize, when frequencies converge. And perhaps most importantly, this reminds us of a principle that is both scientific and profoundly ethical. When we align with the universe, we do no harm. When we misalign, consequences ripple outward. Energy is, in a sense, a universal accountability system. Consider astral projection and interdimensional travel. At first glance, it sounds like fantasy. But if consciousness is non-local, if it can exist beyond the constraints of space-time, then exploration becomes not only possible, but necessary. The chosen ones report traveling to realms where geometry is fluid, where language is superfluous, where understanding is direct. These experiences, though extraordinary, are ultimately lessons about perception. They are reminders that our physical senses, though powerful, capture only a fraction of reality. And that fraction, while breathtaking, is just a slice of the greater whole. And then there's the matter of time dilation and accelerated evolution. Time, for most of us, is a straight line: past, present, future. But physics and consciousness tell us something very different. Time is malleable. It is experienced differently depending on velocity, gravity, and if consciousness is as profound as the chosen ones suggest, awareness itself. When the mind accelerates, when understanding deepens, time stretches, contracts, and folds, a single moment of insight can contain the density of a lifetime. And in that compression, evolution accelerates not by changing the physical world, but by expanding the mind, by unlocking capacities that were always latent but hidden by the ordinary flow of existence. Now, you might ask, why does any of this matter? Why should we care about parallel realities, past lives, or alien intelligence? The answer is simple: context. Understanding the vastness of the universe and our small yet profound role within it changes the way we live. It changes how we act, how we relate, how we make decisions. The chosen ones are, in a sense, conduits for perspective. They remind us that life is not just a sequence of tasks, a march toward deadlines, a competition for survival. Life is a dialogue with the cosmos, and every dialogue carries responsibility. Because here's a final truth: knowledge without action is meaningless. Wonder without engagement is empty. And curiosity, no matter how profound, is wasted if it doesn't lead to transformation. The chosen ones remind us that consciousness is not a spectator sport. It is participatory. And so the ultimate lesson is this: our lives, no matter how ordinary they seem, ripple across the universe. Every choice we make, every thought we entertain, every act of kindness or neglect echoes in the fabric of reality itself. And so what can we do? We can begin by observing, truly observing, not just the night sky, but the world around us, not just the cosmos, but our neighbors. We can cultivate understanding, not as an intellectual exercise, but as a way to attune ourselves to the rhythms of existence. We can act not recklessly, not selfishly, but with awareness that our decisions have consequences far beyond what we can measure. We can embrace science, not as a collection of facts, but as a method for engaging with reality, a way to see the universe as it is and to find our place within it. The chosen ones illuminate the edges of possibility, but the path is open to all, and the universe in all its magnitude is patient. It will continue to spin, to expand, to evolve, regardless of our awareness. But if we choose to awaken, to act, and to engage, we can participate in that evolution. We can become conscious agents in a universe that is not just vast, but alive with meaning, with connection, and with the potential for transformation. So, as we stand on this tiny rock in a vast cosmic arena, let us remember we are the stewards, the observers, and the participants. The universe is not separate from us, and we are not separate from it. Every thought, every action, every inquiry resonates beyond ourselves. And in that resonance lies the power to heal, to understand, to transform. The journey of the chosen ones is a reminder that the extraordinary is not elsewhere. It is here, embedded in the ordinary. It is in your capacity to wonder, to question, and to act. It is in your ability to recognize that you are simultaneously infinitesimal and infinite, fragile and enduring, human and cosmic. And if we embrace this truth, we do not merely survive, we thrive. We do not merely exist, we participate in the ongoing unfolding of the universe itself. And that, in the final analysis, is the greatest responsibility and the greatest privilege any of us could ever have. And so, when we speak of the chosen ones, let us not imagine a fantasy. Let us imagine a potential, a capacity within all of us. Because if the universe is teaching anything, it is this: consciousness is not incidental. It is not an afterthought of matter. Consciousness is fundamental, and if consciousness is fundamental, then our awareness, our curiosity, our empathy, our imagination is not trivial. Every thought we think, every idea we explore, every moment of wonder participates in the unfolding of the cosmos. Consider the phenomenon of past life recall. Now, some may dismiss it as a fringe curiosity, and yet, from a scientific perspective, it invites an important question. If memory, identity, and self are emergent properties of a complex system, could information somehow transcend the boundaries of one lifetime? Could our experiences echo through time, shaping our perception, intuition, and choices in ways we do not fully understand? Even if the evidence is not fully concrete, the act of exploring these questions expands the mind. It trains us to recognize patterns, to ask, to observe, to listen. And in that act, we participate in the evolution of consciousness itself. When the chosen ones report encounters with extraterrestrial intelligence, we are reminded that intelligence, life, and consciousness may be universal phenomena, not limited to our planet. Carl Sagan famously said, "Somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known." And in the cosmic silence between stars, that incredible thing may very well be another form of life, perhaps wiser, perhaps older, perhaps more in tune with the rhythms of the universe. The humility demanded by that possibility is not a limitation, it is liberation. Because in recognizing that we are part of a larger cosmic dialogue, we begin to see that our responsibilities are not just to ourselves or to our communities, but to the universe itself. And what of quantum healing? To those unacquainted, the term may sound mystical, but the principles are deeply scientific. The universe is not a static stage on which we act. It is a dynamic web of energy and information. Quantum physics teaches us that observation influences reality, that particles are entangled across space, that probability underlies all phenomena. When consciousness aligns with these truths, healing is not merely metaphorical, it is a realignment of systems in resonance with the universe. This is not magic. It is applied science at the edge of human understanding. And it is a powerful reminder. The choices we make, the energy we direct, the attention we pay, all matter. Interdimensional travel, astral projection, and parallel timelines may feel like the territory of science fiction. Yet they raise a profound philosophical truth. Reality, as we perceive it, is limited by the censors of our minds and the filters of our culture. What if every decision we make spawns a new universe? What if the mind can explore landscapes of reality inaccessible to the body? The chosen ones remind us that exploration is not limited to physical space. It is also an exploration of consciousness, of ethics, of perception. They challenge us to consider that the boundaries we perceive between life and death, past and future, self and other, may be less rigid than we assume. And then there is the dimension of time dilation and accelerated evolution. If physics teaches us that time is relative, then consciousness must also be relative. Moments of insight can stretch to contain eons. Experiences of empathy or understanding can accelerate the evolution of the self. The universe, vast as it is, operates on scales of time incomprehensible to us, yet within each mind, within each consciousness, a single moment can contain boundless potential. The chosen ones demonstrate that awareness can bend time, not by moving through it faster, but by expanding the depth of perception. So, why does any of this matter for the rest of us? Why should we, sitting on our small blue planet, care about the extraordinary experiences of a few? Because the extraordinary is not isolated. It is a reflection of potential that exists within all of us. When one mind stretches, the field of consciousness expands. When one consciousness engages with the universe responsibly, the ripple extends far beyond the individual. We are, each of us, nodes in a network that spans the cosmos. And how we choose to act, whether with curiosity, with humility, with responsibility, determines the texture of reality itself. And let us not forget, these phenomena, as strange and wondrous as they are, always return to the same lesson: connection. The universe is vast, yes. It is indifferent, yes. But within its indifference, it presents opportunity. The cosmos does not demand we understand everything. It demands that we pay attention, that we care, that we act wisely. The chosen ones are teachers, not because they are inherently better, but because they notice more, because they choose to align themselves with the deeper currents of reality. And the same is available to every one of us. The implications are both simple and profound. If you observe the stars, if you wonder about the forces that govern matter and mind, if you seek to understand the interwoven threads of energy and information that constitute reality, then you are participating in the same cosmic experiment as the chosen ones. You are a witness, yes, but also an agent. Every question you ask, every insight you pursue, every act of curiosity and empathy contributes to the evolution of consciousness across the universe. And so, the ultimate challenge emerges. Will we act as passive observers, content to marvel from the sidelines? Or will we embrace our role as conscious participants, recognizing that even in our ordinary lives, we possess extraordinary power, the power to heal, to create, to transform, to align ourselves with the rhythms of a universe that is as mysterious as it is magnificent? The chosen ones illuminate what is possible. They offer glimpses of a reality where perception, consciousness, and action converge. But the path they reveal is open to all of us. The universe does not discriminate. It responds to attention, to care, to curiosity, and in that responsiveness lies hope. In that responsiveness lies responsibility. In that responsiveness lies the opportunity to become more than we thought possible. We are, each of us, cosmic voyagers, orbiting a star in a galaxy of countless suns, in a universe that stretches beyond comprehension. And yet, within this vastness, we are capable of choice, of insight, of moral courage. We are capable of seeing not only the world as it is, but as it could be, and of taking the steps necessary to bring that vision into being. The universe is patient, but it is not static. It evolves, and we evolve with it. So as we conclude, let this be the takeaway. The extraordinary phenomena we have explored: the past life memories, the parallel realities, the alien encounters, the quantum healing, the interdimensional journeys, the time dilation, the cosmic revelations. These are not distractions from life. They are invitations to life. Invitations to expand consciousness, to deepen understanding, to act responsibly, to participate fully in the cosmic experiment that is reality itself. And if we rise to the occasion, then perhaps we will not only witness the universe, we will become its conscious, caring, and transformative agents. And in doing so, we honor both the vast cosmos and the tiny, precious human spark that exists within each of us. Because, after all, the universe is not merely out there, it is within us, between us, around us, and through us. And to live fully, consciously, responsibly, is to recognize that we are not just inhabitants of the cosmos, we are participants in its ongoing unfolding. And here's the thing about the cosmos: it doesn't bend to our expectations. It does not pause for our convenience. It does not care whether we feel ready to confront its mysteries. And yet, in that apparent indifference lies the greatest gift: opportunity. Because if the universe is vast enough to contain billions of galaxies, trillions of stars, and countless possibilities, it is vast enough to contain your curiosity, your wonder, your questions, and even your failures. The chosen ones are not extraordinary because they are fundamentally different from the rest of us. They are extraordinary because they have noticed. They have paid attention. And attention-directed, curious, compassionate is perhaps the rarest and most powerful resource any of us can cultivate. It allows us to perceive phenomena that are invisible to others, to see patterns in the chaos, to glimpse connections that bridge the personal and the universal. And it is in these connections, subtle yet undeniable, that we begin to recognize our place in the tapestry of existence. Take the concept of parallel realities and alternate timelines. At first glance, it sounds like pure science fiction, a fanciful imagining of worlds that could have been, but physics has taught us something humbling. The universe is probabilistic. Every choice, every action, every thought has consequences that ripple outward, like stones dropped into a pond whose edges we cannot see. And if reality is a network of probabilities, then perhaps the chosen ones are simply those who have learned to perceive the ripples, those who understand that their decisions matter not just in the here and now, but across dimensions of possibility. This is not mystical thinking. It is a reflection of a truth we often forget, that consciousness is causative. Your awareness matters, your decisions matter, the questions you ask matter. And the more we expand that awareness, the more we see the invisible threads that connect us not just to each other, but to the cosmos itself. Then there is quantum healing, which asks us to reconsider what it means to be alive. Science teaches us that every atom in your body has existed since the birth of the universe. Every particle is a product of stars that exploded billions of years ago. And if you think about that for a moment, you realize that your body is not separate from the cosmos. It is composed of the same matter, governed by the same laws, and suffused with the same energy. To engage in quantum healing is not to invoke magic. It is to realign yourself with these natural forces, to harmonize with the rhythms of the universe, and to recognize that your well-being is interwoven with the well-being of the world around you. Now, let's talk about alien encounters, or rather, the idea that life beyond Earth exists. Whether it is microorganisms on a distant moon or intelligent beings in a galaxy far beyond our telescopes, the question is not whether life exists elsewhere, it is whether we are ready to meet it. And perhaps even more importantly, the encounters reported by the chosen ones remind us of something fundamental. The universe is not just vast, it is relational. It thrives on interaction, exchange, and understanding. The cosmos is a network, and we are, willingly or not, nodes within it. How we interact, how we learn, how we communicate, how we care, may define not just our survival, but our evolution. Interdimensional travel and astral projection take us further into the question of perception. If reality is broader than what our senses can detect, then every time we expand our consciousness, we are effectively exploring new dimensions. These experiences may sound fantastical, but they are grounded in a simple yet profound principle. Reality is filtered through the lens of observation. To expand your perception is to expand reality itself. And in doing so, we gain empathy for unseen experiences, humility for what we do not understand, and courage to act in ways that matter. Time itself is perhaps the most revealing teacher. In moments of accelerated evolution, the chosen ones have glimpsed what it means to inhabit time differently. Physics reminds us that time is not absolute. It stretches and contracts depending on velocity and gravity, depending on perspective. But consciousness adds another layer. In moments of insight, reflection, or creative breakthrough, a single instant can feel infinite. In these moments, you are not just passing through time, you are bending it, learning from it, and shaping it. And if one mind can experience this, what might be possible if all of humanity did? So, here's the cosmic takeaway. The phenomena we have explored, past life recall, parallel realities, alien encounters, quantum healing, interdimensional travel, time dilation, and cosmic revelations are not curiosities reserved for a select few. They are mirrors, reflecting the potential that exists in each of us. They remind us that our consciousness is not isolated, that our choices resonate beyond our immediate perception, and that the universe is not a backdrop, but a participant in our journey. The responsibility is simple, but profound. Pay attention, act wisely, seek understanding. Expand your perception. Engage with the cosmos not as a passive observer, but as an active participant. Recognize that the threads connecting you to others, to life, and to the universe are not incidental. They are essential. And by cultivating awareness, compassion, and curiosity, you become part of the unfolding of reality itself. Ultimately, this is the lesson of the chosen ones, that the extraordinary is not something we chase, it is something we cultivate. It emerges when curiosity meets courage, when perception meets responsibility, and when knowledge meets action. The universe is immense, indifferent, and sometimes terrifying, but it is also a teacher, a guide, and an invitation. An invitation to see, to understand, and to act. And so, if there is one question I leave you with, it is this: will you accept that invitation? Will you see yourself not just as a passenger on a pale blue dot, but as a conscious agent within the vast web of existence? Will you engage with the extraordinary, not for spectacle, but for understanding, for growth, for the betterment of yourself and the universe that made you possible? Because the truth is this: the cosmos is not a distant place. It is here, within us, around us, and through us. The chosen ones are not separated by destiny, they are defined by awareness, and so are we. And if we take this awareness seriously, if we let it guide our actions, then the future is not something that simply happens. It is something we create. It is a story we write together as inhabitants of this world, voyagers of the stars, and participants in the magnificent unfolding of the cosmos itself. The universe is waiting, and it has questions. The question now is, are you ready to answer them? And yet, here's the paradox. While the universe is unimaginably vast, filled with galaxies that stretch beyond comprehension, the things that matter most are often small, subtle, and fleeting. A look in someone's eyes, a choice to act with kindness, a single decision to pursue understanding over ignorance, these are the acts that ripple outward, much like gravitational waves bending the fabric of space-time itself. We live at a time when information travels faster than thought, when knowledge of distant worlds exists at our fingertips, yet we struggle to understand the world next door, our neighbor, or even ourselves. Consider past life recall. At first, it may seem implausible, even fanciful. But what it represents is not necessarily literal memory, it represents continuity, perspective, and the deep undercurrents of experience that shape our lives. To remember in a visceral way that we are part of a continuum of existence is to gain humility. Humility is the recognition that the universe does not revolve around us, but that we, like comets and planets, are participants in an intricate cosmic ballet. And once you see this, once you truly feel this, your choices acquire gravity. They matter not because the universe demands it, but because the web of existence is sensitive to action, attention, and intention. The notion of parallel realities expands this idea exponentially. Science tells us that for every action, countless possibilities unfold, creating alternate versions of reality. For the chosen ones, this is not just theory, it is lived experience. And for all of us, it is a reminder that the choices we make, no matter how small, echo across dimensions of consequence. Every moment is a branch, every decision a path that reverberates through a lattice of probability. Imagine living consciously in a world where each action is a node in an interconnected network of outcomes. What responsibility would you assume if you knew the smallest gestures could shift realities? And then there is the profound mystery of alien encounters, not the sensationalized imagery of science fiction, but the philosophical implications of understanding life beyond Earth. If we are not alone in the universe, what does that tell us about ourselves? Perhaps we are not the center, but a reflection of a greater cosmic experiment. To engage with these possibilities is to confront our own limitations, our anthropocentric biases, and our capacity for awe. The universe is vast, indifferent, yet, in its vastness, it invites recognition. It invites curiosity. It asks us to consider that connection, understanding, and cooperation may be universal principles, not just human ones. Quantum healing, interdimensional travel, astral projection, these are not fantasies. They are lenses through which we explore the interrelation between consciousness and the cosmos. Science continues to reveal that the act of observation shapes reality, that energy and matter are not distinct, and that consciousness is entwined with existence in ways we are only beginning to understand. The chosen ones, in their extraordinary experiences, serve as living proofs of what can be accessed when awareness is expanded. And if awareness expands, then so too does responsibility, compassion, and possibility. Time, too, is a teacher. In moments of insight, reflection, and cosmic perspective, time dilates. The chosen ones experience accelerated evolution not in defiance of physics, but as a natural consequence of engagement with consciousness and the universe. These moments remind us that growth is not linear, that life is not measured merely by years or hours, but by depth of understanding, by the gravity of our choices, and by the resonance of our actions across space and experience. The cosmic revelations of the chosen ones, these glimpses into universal truths, are ultimately reflections of what is accessible to all of us. They reveal patterns, laws, and rhythms that govern not just the stars, but human societies, ecosystems, and the connections between us all. The universe speaks, and its language is not always literal. It is expressed through consequence, through beauty, through the fractal symmetry of nature, and through the whisper of discovery in the human heart. What I want you to see, what I hope you take away, is that none of this is abstract. None of this is a diversion from reality. The phenomena we have explored, past lives, parallel realities, cosmic connections, quantum fields, interdimensional travel, time dilation, and universal truths are, in essence, mirrors of the human potential to observe, understand, and act with intentionality. They are evidence that our existence is threaded with meaning, that the universe is not just a backdrop to life, but an active partner in it, and that the chosen ones are not special because of power, they are special because of awareness. And awareness, as subtle as it may seem, is revolutionary. It allows us to recognize that the suffering we witness on Earth, the poverty, the conflict, the inequality, is not disconnected from the cosmos. That may seem counterintuitive, but it is not. Every choice matters. Every act of empathy matters. Every pursuit of knowledge matters. We are small in scale, but enormous in consequence. We are, quite literally, participants in the unfolding story of the universe. The final question, the one that lingers as stars twinkle in a darkened sky, is this. If we can perceive our interconnectedness, if we can glimpse the hidden rhythms that govern existence, if we can feel the weight of our choices across dimensions, then what will we do with that knowledge? Will we retreat into comfort, into ignorance, into the illusion of separation? Or will we rise to the occasion, embrace our responsibility, and act in ways that honor the vastness we inhabit? For in the end, the cosmos does not judge, it does not reward, it does not punish, but it does respond. And our response, our attention, our understanding, our actions shapes the future not just for ourselves, but for everyone. The universe is alive with possibility, but possibility requires engagement. It demands curiosity, courage, and care. And it waits not impatiently, but with infinite patience for us to step into our role as conscious participants. So, I ask you, will you step forward? Will you become one of the chosen not in destiny, but in awareness, in action, and in understanding? Will you recognize that the extraordinary phenomena we have explored are not separate from you, but a reflection of what is possible when human potential meets cosmic reality? The universe has questions. Will you answer them? Will you rise, not for fame, not for power, but for insight, for understanding, and for the profound responsibility of being alive? The answer, as always, begins with observation, with reflection, with curiosity, and from there, it grows into understanding, into action, and ultimately into a life that resonates with the music of the cosmos itself. Because here is the final truth. We are not merely on this planet. We are not merely in this universe. We are of it, made from its stars, energized by its forces, and connected to its mysteries. And the journey of the chosen, the journey of consciousness, is not to escape it, but to embrace it fully, courageously, and responsibly. The universe is waiting, and it has questions. Will you answer them?